Hello and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's only daily television platform for small businesses. We bring you the right information to empower you, the SME entrepreneur. Tonight on the show, two small giants. First up, we're talking about Hopscotch. On the other side of a break, mom's belief in focus tonight. Our first small giant tonight is with Hopscotch. Sreya Sarbadhikari caught up with serial entrepreneur Rahul Anand to really understand how the market as far as apparel for kids in India is very different from the other markets that he has experience in, particularly the United States, to understand how e-commerce is really changing the way people are buying and selling clothes and what some of the trends are for 2019. Listen.
The fast-growing Indian economy and increasing penetration of e-commerce websites is projected to drive growth for the kids apparel market in India. According to the players operating in this market, the size of the kids fashion industry is estimated at around rupees 15 to 25 billion. One such brand dominating the market is Hopscotch. Available across 1,300 cities, Hopscotch is offering parents the latest global fashion trends in clothing, shoes and accessories for their kids at an unbeatable price point.
Rahul, thank you so much for giving your time today. Let me start by asking that Hopscotch was launched in 2012, and how has the journey been so far for you, and what can you tell us about your company?
Yeah, it's been a fascinating one. We started Hopscotch in 2012. Both my co-founder and I, had been in the business prior to Hopscotch at a company called diapers.com in the US.
Sure.
We spent many years there, built the biggest kids business in America, and then Amazon bought that company. And after the acquisition took place, it was the year 2011, I began to explore the kids market in India. E-commerce was unfolding, and there were more and more people shopping online. And right there in front of my eyes, I saw this massive opportunity in the kids' fashion space. You know, in our early years, we thought our US experience would be extremely relevant. And yet, when I look back, there isn't a single thing that we didn't have to unlearn. The Indian market is massive, it's vast. There's over 200 to 300 million households that you can serve in terms of kids' fashion.
Right.
But it's extremely regional. It's different from the US or, quite frankly, China, which is more homogeneous. People's taste, their design sensibility varies dramatically. Second, while it is a big market, most parents are seeking that sweet spot between aspiration and accessibility.
Right.
And I think that sweet spot is really crucial to focus on. If you can get it right, if you can find product market fit, we've learned that this market is infinitely deep.
You've been in the States working with diapers.com extensively. So how is the market, and the sector was the same? You're targeting mothers, parents for their children. So help me understand that how is the market in the States different from that in India?
Yeah, I think the market in the US is starved of convenience. And so if you can sell things online, there are people with high disposable income that are willing to buy anything and everything that you feature.
Sure.
Second, in the US, there's a lot of brands that have been built. Organized retail there is a 50-year-old business. And so the brands exist. They're trying to find a market, and convenience becomes a catalyst to making that happen. In India, there are no brands. Right? The biggest brand in the kids space is a 200 crore rupee company after 30 years and shrinking each year. And in a matter of 3+ years at Hopscotch, we're north of 500 crores, right? We are one of the biggest brands across the men's, women's, and fashion space in India already.
Sure.
And so I think what we believe is that what India is lacking is not convenience. You can pick up the store and people will deliver things home to you faster than any e-commerce company can. What India is lacking is supply. They're lacking a brand that can offer them both aspiration and accessibility. And because of the unique way in which we've gone about and disrupted the traditional approach to building brands, we've been able to make that vision a reality.
Well, I understand that you are using data technology and AI extensively to foresee future trends. So talk to us about how are you incorporating that on this platform?
Yeah, so it's think of it like a Venn diagram. You've got the brand, you've got data or technology, and then you've got the supply chain, right? I think that's the holy trinity over here, right? So yes, you built a brand, a really aspirational brand in the kids space that never existed before, right? You're the biggest brand in the country, and in a very finite period of time with limited resources. Sure. But what's powered a lot of that is two things. One, a data platform that allows us to capture over 300 data streams per second, right? So, when you think about what we're doing, yes, we're selling clothes. That's the core of our business. We're humble. We realize that ultimately that is what this business is about. But in order to do it really well and effectively, you need to be able to understand things rapidly. So data and engineering are mission critical to understand what the customer wants. And then on the supply side, you need a very effective mechanism to act on the demand, right? When you find those latest trends before anyone else, right, do you have a supply chain that allows you to rapidly respond and ensure that you've got the right products in stock? So it's really it's this holy trinity that's helped Hopscotch achieve success this far, and we will continue to make investments in these specific areas as we move forward.
What kind of marketing have you done for your brand? And again, it's a two-part question. How different and difficult is it for an entrepreneur to do his marketing in the States as compared to here in India?
Yeah, I think India is fascinating. It's super interesting. The way in which brands are being built in India, China, most of the emerging markets, it's all happening on a mobile phone. And therefore, what we're amazed with is two things. First, the size, scale, and depth of the market here is just infinitely more than anything we saw in the US. Sure. Second, the cost of acquisition of every customer is literally 1/10 of what we spent in the US. And third, even though we keep adding more and more first-time shoppers to the Hopscotch family every day, the customer retention rates are higher than those in the West. Now just think about that. If you take a step back, right? In the first 90 days, we usually measure the proportion of shoppers that come back to place a repeat order or more. When we sold consumables in the US, a high repeat category, right, that people keep buying again and again, we sold consumables in the US, we had not seen the level of repeat rates that we see by selling clothes in India. Now, clothes is also repeat purchase, kids keep growing, sure. But it doesn't have the repeat ordering tendency that a category like diapers would. And I think what's really amazing is because we've sort of hit the nail on the head and got product market fit, we're seeing extremely strong customer retention in our business here. It surprised us. We thought the Indian consumer is more value conscious. Disposable income is about $1,800 per capita. Sure. China's 4 or 5 times higher than where we are. The US is, of course, astronomically higher. And yet we're seeing that the very consumers that we serve come back and order more frequently than even the more affluent ones that we once served in our previous lives before Hopscotch, and that's been encouraging.
Talk to us about some of the challenges as an entrepreneur that you faced in the States as compared to in India, or that you faced in India as compared to in the States.
Look, the world is becoming flatter, right? And so I think a lot of the training that we received in the US, not just me, like there's a lot of folks on the leadership team here that have had the exposure and privilege of learning in countries outside India. I think a lot of those learnings give you a foundation and a structure for you to think critically as you hit every single challenge as you go down. I think it seems like in the US, you had to focus purely on work. Sure. The level of distraction from needing to worry about taxation, for example, was far more muted. There were people who had a clear point of view on the law, on the taxation, sure. And you move forward. In India, it's a lot more nuanced. There's therefore different interpretations of the law. and depending on the interpretation, the law can be construed differently.
Sure.
And so I think what we found sort of invaluable is that the actual business skills that we learned in the West have been transplantable and usable, but we've had to adapt them to the Indian context. And I think given we are sort of from India, deeply passionate with solving problems for the Indian consumer, those learnings have been an invaluable catalyst to keep us moving forward.
Great. For Hopscotch at least, what is the market that you see in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities?
Yeah, it's massive, right? About 70% of our business is from tier 2 towns or smaller. We're seeing triple-digit growth rate in traction in non-top 25 cities. Right. And I think it has less to do with us deciding to focus on that audience, and it has more to do with two things. One, the value proposition resonating with people across the country, and second, the power of technology to help you find an audience in cities that you've never heard about. Right? We serve over 2,500 towns. We would never be able to set up stores in such a short time frame in that wider geography. Sure. And so I think we've been extremely encouraged with the size, scope, and opportunity in India, and it very much is driven off the demand, the pent-up demand of those selection-starved consumers in smaller cities.
Thank you so much, Rahul, for giving your time today.
Let's take a break. On the other side, mom's belief is in focus. Do stay tuned. Much more on the other side. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. Our second small giant tonight is with mom's belief. Statistics show that nearly 1 out of every 100 children in India today has autism, and Tanya Dubey spoke with Mom's Belief that provides remote at-home care services for the families of those children with autism. Take a listen.
Lovely to have you on the show, Nitin. I'd love to understand that how did you come up with the idea of Mom's Belief? If you can tell us about your journey so far.
Thanks, Tanya. Thanks for having me on the show. Yeah, it's a long journey. It's a very interesting journey. We started Mom's Belief around 3.5 years back. Just to give a background, I was working with one of the largest dental chain at that time. And on pro bono basis, I was working in a very small autistic center, and I was going on Saturday, Sunday. There we saw that the parents are sitting outside at the reception and not much involved in the process. They are more of a logistic partner. They just put the child in the therapy center and then wait for the child to come back from the therapy center. Some of them, they are not involved. They don't understand the child much. So we thought, why not change that? Why not make it a process where the parents are involved? So there we started actually a pilot for Mom's Belief in true sense. At that time, it was not even Mom's Belief, so it was just a pilot. And we invited parents to come along with us in the therapy center.
1% of the world's population has autism, and 15 million individuals in India itself have autism. So how are you tackling this problem?
Imagine for 15 million kids, they're not even professional, not good number of professionals to take care of that. Though they are professionals who are trying their best to take care of these 15 million kids, and then LD, ADHD, many of these types. But the problem is that the number of hours which therapists are spending with the child is not good enough to cater to the entire population. Even if all the therapists take 24-hour session, they will not cater to even 1 hour of therapy for these 15 million kids. The solution we feel, and it's not a 100% solution, we need to work along with the therapist. But even if a mother and father, we can train them to become a co-therapist, to do 70% of the work after they take a session, and in the places where there's no therapy center, it will be big change for a child, right? Imagine a world where rather than 18,000, 20,000 professionals taking care of 15 million autistic, imagine a world with 30 million parents of 2:1 ratio taking care of one child, and that too dedicated. The number of hours, the attention, the discipline will be exponentially high. So it's not like a person goes to a therapy center, get the therapy, they come back home, they have the entire ecosystem with them, be it school, therapy center, and most important, home. They cover end-to-end life cycle of a child. So we believe that no child should left behind, and that's where the parents are the key factor. See, the reality is doctor will change, teacher will change, therapist will change. Parents are there forever. They will take care of the child if you empower them in the right way.
Tell us more about your home program. What strategies are you using to help parents who have children at home with mental disabilities?
We formulated a process where every mother has been provided with a dedicated child psychologist and a senior doctor. They don't directly give the therapy to a child. They guide a mother or train a mother how to do these therapy with their child. It's all one-on-one session. Now the challenge is that how the mother should do that, and there we have created a beautiful kit. We have more than 2,000 teaching tools, and it's tailor-made for every child. So we see the level of the child. We have our own scales and assessments. We see the level of child. We produce a IEP, which is a curriculum for that child, along with the mother, and then we ship it across to their home, and then the guidance of that particular mother starts. Now, how to guide them? We have dedicated calls, Skype, using the technology, and the mother can also visit the therapy centers, who are our partner therapy centers, and it's a partnership between the therapy center, child psychologist, and the mother. All three of them working together to get the child done. So that's the end-to-end home program. Secondly, we see that once you get to the certain benchmark in the home program, we do the reassessment after every quarter to see where the child is, because what is the level of improvement? There should be transparency around that, because in this world, unlike medical world, there's a subjectivity at some level. So we want to cater that with the use of technology, and that's what we're doing.
How can the government help? What are the kind of policies that can be formulated to help this education system?
So maybe an initiative by government to make all teachers, so there's a teacher training programs, more information, more workshop. These need to be instituted at a grassroots level. If you identify the child at the very early stage, it can help that child a lot. That's number one. Number two, the awareness and sensitization at a general public level, right? This is still a taboo, and in our society, we take this in a very different way whenever we get to identify. Even the parent of an special need child, they at times take it differently. See, we need to understand these are absolutely normal kids. The thing is, they learn differently. They learn in such a manner where the normal learning curriculum doesn't suit them. So the special curriculum needs to be instituted, teachers need to be trained. And lastly, in most of the country, like Dubai, Middle East, and everywhere, the inclusivity is been added by the government, right? That special need kids will be part of the entire school as a mandate. We do have a structure of 3% as per the judgment, but it need to be followed in a right manner. It need to be worked upon, because at times schools are not catered to or not equipped enough to handle these kids. They need guidance, they need support, they need infrastructure. So these are the things which government need to work. And lastly, on the rights of these kids. Government did something in 2011 to 16. There's a right on special need kids which has been added and certification has been issued, but they need to more to ensure that they are being taken care. I'll give an example, the child abuse. And these are the topic for special need kids that need to be looked upon. There are rules and regulation, but it need to be enforced in a stricter manner.
Are you working with schools? How has that experience been?
We started at a pilot 3 years back with one of the preschool where we have the inclusivity, 1:5 ratio, 1 special need kid and 5 regular or neurotypical kids. We saw the great improvement in terms when the special need kid learn from the other kids, and we have a pull-out session. You'll be surprised to know, Tanya, that the model was so successful. We just signed a deal with the, let's say, chain of 73 schools. We are working with K-12 schools, and now schools are approaching us in end-to-end model. So there are various models where school has some level of setup. They want more enforcement, empowerment, and resources. Secondly, there are schools who identifies at a later stage that there's some issue they need to take care of, and they request us to set up an infrastructure at the school.
Is it easy to raise funding in this space? How has your experience been?
We closed our seed round with $1 million at that particular moment. When the persons, when the investing world saw the traction, when they see that what is the overall scope of this and multi-country, how many parents, we crossed 1,000 families in just 8 months, the sheer scope, we start getting the interest, and that's where. So I'm happy to say, so we are adequately funded for next 3 years, 3 to 4 years. So like I said, it's not about the funding, it's about the implementation of those funds in the right manner to get the best result. We call it ROI. In this world, since we are the first social enterprise, and we are absolutely for profit because we believe in self-sustainability, and that's the only model that can sustain in long term.
You've catered to over 1,000 families across India, US, UAE and UK market. What are your future plans? How are you going to penetrate to tier 2 and tier 3 markets?
We are right now taking care of 1,000 kids. We want to reach to an aspirational target of 10,000 kids. We saw that at tier 2 and tier 3, there's very less penetration in terms of the reality, the ground rule, where the professional therapists need to be trained. They need support. They need not only support professionally, but from infra, financial, everything. So our plan is to go to 50 plus cities in next 6 months, primarily from North India, and we are expanding in West and South India accordingly. Calcutta and the Eastern market will be taking in early 2020.
Great. Thank you so much for talking to us, Nitin.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tanya.
Yeah.
All right, that's our show tonight. If you have any feedback for us, or like either of our 2 small giants tonight want to be featured here on the show, here's how you get in touch. leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com is our email ID. Sunanda_Jain, LOT_ET now on Twitter, and Leaders of Tomorrow and ET now on Facebook. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.